really relaxed tissue is so squishy, you can push right to the bone. And if there wasn't any like adhesion or inflammation in the tissue, you wouldn't even get that much sensation. Like really squishy people, you just go right through everything, and you're massaging their skeleton.
How important do you think anatomy is in this, like, versus like understanding the anatomy and where things attach and what they look like versus just feeling?
I mean, that's where anatomy came from. Like, anatomy is the end result of feeling what is connected to what. So what happens is that, like, if you feel into enough things, and you're like, oh, that's hard. Okay, it's hard there and there and there and there, and like you're literally just following the structure, and then eventually, once you've traced out patterns enough, you're like, oh, there's actually a muscle here. You know, like you could have a preconceived notion of there being a muscle there, which helps like add the process of like it gives you more foresight to like entertain the thoughts about thinking about it, but it doesn't change the fact that it's
like
there
knowing the map
and
like seeing it on a diagram.
It makes it easier to navigate. You know, it's kind of like it's easier to get from here to Santa Cruz if you know what the roads look like.
Rather than just like...
But if you just start driving, you actually will get there. You might not get there as fast. You might take a scenic detour that actually turned out to be the cause of this whole thing, because you're like, oh, it's actually here, but that's actually torsional, and it actually wraps all the way up into here. I mean, that's the part that anatomy won't teach you. So the thing is like, I don't emphasize on anatomy. Because anatomy doesn't actually tell you how those differentiated things that you're giving weird Latin names to are actually connected. And like actually the experiential feeling of how when you twist something and squeeze it and stretch it all at the same time, you're actually like mobilizing every plane of fascia simultaneously. If anything, that's the one thing anatomy won't tell you is how fascia works. Like fascia is the one thing that is continuous throughout your body from the moment you're born until the time you die. Like every other layer of tissue is like interchangeable and flexing and changing, but fascia is this network that holds everything together. And if anything, that's what you're really doing is you're kind of basically just like tapping into that network. It's like a mycelial network of physiological embodiment. And I think that's why doing it on mushrooms makes it even easier, right? Because you eat the mycelial network, and the mycelial network taps you into how my mycelial networks function, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can feel the whole. Just touching him, I can feel the whole network, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, well this is kind of dense here, you add more pressure, and it kind of like has to radiate through the network. Which is why you just gotta like...
That face right there.
He's clearly having a very good time. Happy faces.
That's my spot.
That's the spot. And that's the thing, it's like, it'll do that. You just like, as soon as you like touch somebody and be like, okay, network, what's going on? And it's just like, you will, without having to think about it, your network will be like a magnet. It'd be like, okay, right there, and like without even like any kind of like pre-palpation, you can literally dive into people's core energetic structure just because you are feeling their energetic structure, and it becomes like self-referring basically.
You're amazing. You're the guru.
I mean,
massage guru.
That's why I'm teaching this, is because this is just what happens when you do it enough. Like, nobody ever taught me anything about bodywork. I literally downloaded bodywork from bodies. My body, their body, everybody. I've interacted with enough bodies. I've collected the biological, like, body intelligence of a whole mass of people. And so that's kind of that's why I kind of do it in this like kind of experiential, explorative context, is because all I'm really doing is just giving people permission to explore the potential of their own body's intelligence. And then stack them. Right, because he has a body intelligence. And you can actually use his body intelligence on as a tool, right? Because what happens is the release of energy in the network can literally ripple through the entire network. So what happens is like you find one bundle of like pent up energy, and then as that releases, it just ripples through the network. And then if you interlock a bunch of different networks, that one release can ripple through a whole mass of people. Like if you get a pile of people like fully entrained in a completely non-ideological level of intimacy, then like one person's release becomes the entire group's release.
That happened in ayahuasca ceremony too. When the group comes together and somebody's having experience, like the whole the group becomes like a container. So it's interesting. Amazing. I had this done to me once, and it was the most. I had a feeling this is what we were doing today. Zach Beach did this to me.
Yeah.
At Soul Play with somebody else, and it was the most amazing massage experience I've ever had.
And it's and you know he's part of the Squish Squad because it's like once you've like experienced and got inoculated to the like that aspect of consciousness, then it's self-referring. Like he's because you just take it and just run with it.
Yeah.
Right? And like I've done that to people too, where it's like you just do that to them one time, just so that they even have like a concept that it's possible, and then they like instantly like attune to their like squish ninja, and then they just become like a force to be reckoned with.
I'm ready to become a squish ninja.
Like
as I'm watching you do thing, I think about my practice that I've been offering. I'm like, ugh, it's too rigid. Like I need to like drop all that. Like what I think, it's too much up here.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking too much about. That was like the first thing to master.
So this is like one of my like number one guidelines, right? The way that we currently socially engage with the world is so cerebral, and it's so tactile in the like hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Like we can train and condition people to like build an like absurd amount of hand-eye coordination, right? It's like everything functions on a hand-eye coordination level. Like we don't even know how to function outside of that. So one of the best ways to like attune to your own body's intelligence and resources is just stop using your hands. Like your hands are actually the weakest part of your body. So trying to massage somebody with your hands is actually kind of ridiculous, right? The only thing that the hands are actually good for is what she's doing, which is like mapping, like you.
More of like a yin, like to feel.
No, yeah, if you want, if you've touched somebody, you can feel all the different layers of density, and you have like there's so much sensory sensitivity in the hand. It's really good for feeling and understanding. Like you can just sweep this whole thing and like literally just sweeping from his chest to his hand. I already know like the condition of every muscle in his entire arm, right? Just by like, because you can actually just feel every little nuance of the structure, right? And then if I actually want to work on it, you come back with like, you know, a forearm or elbow or a shoulder. Shoulders are good on shoulders.
You come nose dive in.
Yeah, you just like, you're like, okay, I feel where that's going, and then you just dive into it. But yeah, best way to learn how to use your body as a giant massage tool is just to stop using your hands. The second you like stop using your hands, all of a sudden your body's just like, oh, yeah, I could do this.
What about taking your eyeballs out?
No.
Well, that's so I actually do a lot of like dark dance, like blindfolded contact stuff, because that's the other end of the system, right? There's like the hand and the eye, right? If you blindfold yourself, your sense of self and other starts to degrade very quickly. And so what happens is, like, in a contact dance context, like, you get a whole bunch of blindfolded people, and they all instantly become squish ninjas. Like, it's crazy the shit that goes down in a blindfolded contact dance, because everybody is given permission.
Sight is like a distraction.
Yeah, people are given permission to engage fully with their entire body in a non-egoic, non-agenda, like perceptual framework. It's just like pure, like, sensory experience, and it's life-changing. I like whole other worlds emerge in that void of perception. And for me, the ergonomics of the actual wearing eye mask is, like, not, like, especially in a dance, you get sweaty and your eyeballs are sweaty and you're like, oh, it's like, I just find that half the time when I'm working on people or if I'm dancing, I just have my eyes closed anyway, because it shuts out a whole layer of distraction. And so I've actually been playing around with this idea of actually just having, there's a huge international, like, dark room, like, consciousness exploration reality. Like, there's facilities all over the world where you can go into a building that's specifically engineered to have absolutely no light at all ever, and then you go in there for, like, days at a time, and without the input of light, like, your brain starts to, like, completely restructure how you perceive consciousness itself. But they're not very squishy.
Like a float tank.
It's like a float tank, but without the water, and you're with a group of other people in a giant room. Like, you know, they've worked out the logistics of, like, how you, like, you know, feed people and, like, how to do yoga in the dark. You know, but it's still very, like, it's very individual experience focused, and there's not a lot of, like, cohesive interactivity going on within these, like, lightless containers. So down the road, eventually we're gonna have, like, dark squish. Where it's
giant
just,
adult
so
wombs.
bad.
yeah, basically, like a rebirthing of consciousness through, like a disillusionment of patterns.